Good evening, church. Today I have a few things. Hopefully I'll give you a question, an answer, and how to live it out. As Christians, we worry about a large handful of things. Take care of the kids, worry about eating, drinking, sleeping. But what do we need to worry about to be a good Christian? What's our baseline for how are we closer to God? And a lot of people might think, oh, let's look at the Bible. Probably a good place to start. Exodus 20 is a nice place that we're taught from the beginning. No other gods before me, no idols, don't take the Lord's name in vain, don't murder, don't steal. Obvious stuff that we think, oh yeah, that's a pretty good rule set, how we should live it out and what Jesus might want out of us as people. And some people will think, if I can just work on these, I'll be good. It's a pretty simple list, right? And no, these won't do, because even if you put all your focus into these, you won't get anywhere with the guide, because you'll end up falling short, even if you get all these right. They're not even all the sins. You can sin without breaking any of the commandments. So what do? What is the most important one to cover? First one, the last one. I think the best course of action is go to my favorite place for wisdom, just one notch above Proverbs, and that's Jesus. So a little context before I read this passage. The Pharisees and Sadducees are attempting to get Jesus to trip over his words, just catch him in a little mistake so they can condemn him, get him arrested, and sacrifice him eventually. So they're trying to test him and question him, and in the following passage, we get a nice answer to the question I've just posed to you. In Mark 12, 28 through 31, it says, "And one of the scribes came up and heard them disputing with one another, and seeing that he answered them well, asked him, 'Which commandment is the most important of all?' Jesus answered, 'The most important is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's no other commandment greater than these.'" Okay, simply put, love God, love others, which is another thing you hear a lot. It's simple thought. Why can't I just love God, love others, and be a good Christian because of that? Have you met people? Loving people is hard. It's not a fun time trying to just love that annoying coworker, weird person in the corner. So how should we do loving God and others? And going to Jesus again, always a good option. In Luke 19, 1 through 10, we find this passage. "He entered Jericho and was passing through. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich." That's the kind of person no one likes. No one wants to see a tax collector because that means they're going to lose money. He's the chief of them. He is the top dog of annoying, awful people in this culture, okay? Nobody likes this guy. And he was trying to see who Jesus was. He was seeking him out. So we continue in verse 3. "And he was seeking who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, 'Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today.' So he hurried down and received him joyfully." Joyfully receiving the top guy of being annoying and awful that no one likes, happily, joyfully receiving him. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, "He's gone to be the guest of a man who is a sinner." And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and I have defrauded anyone of anything. I restore it fourfold." And Jesus says to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he is also a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." Those annoying people are the people Jesus is more worried about than anyone else. Because the top annoying people, the gross person that you just don't feel like approaching, those are the people that we should try so hard to love. Go into their house. Seek out what is wrong. Maybe there's a good reason they're annoying or just rude to people. And how can we help them with that and show love to them? How often should we do it? How much should we put on the line? Because, yeah, love God, love others, but do we do it all the time? Do we do it to everyone? The passage I'm about to read portrays a Pharisee trying to catch Jesus in the act of disrespecting the Sabbath. Again, in the list of 10 commandments I just read earlier. So with full knowledge of what this man was trying to do, Jesus then states, "For the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath." So with the entire understanding of what this man was trying to do, Jesus persists and does the following in Matthew 12, 9 through 15. "He went on from there and entered their synagogue, and a man was there with a withered hand. And they asked him, 'Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?' So that they might accuse him. He said to them, 'Which one of you who has a sheep, if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not take hold of it and lift it out? Of how much more value is a man than a sheep? So it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath.' Then he said to the man, 'Stretch out your hand.' And the man stretched it out, and it was restored, healthy like the other. But the Pharisees went out and conspired against him, how to destroy him. Jesus was aware of this, withdrew from there, and many followed him, and he healed them all." Jesus proclaimed his authority over the Sabbath, explained the heart behind it, that it's lawful to do good even when you're resting. All the time, literally even when it's your break day, do good. Seek out the love of those with withered hands and awful attitudes. And he also said these 4 words, "Stretch out your hand," that led him eventually to the cross. That was probably one of the biggest acts of love, not just to that man, but to all of us, that he could have done. Because what he did, he knew was what they would accuse him for. And he would be sacrificed because of it. He would be put up on a cross and killed for us. He led himself to the cross. Even on the day of rest, we should be presenting that level of love. Even when it's our off day, we should put our entire lives on the line to protect the lost and seek out the lonely and show love like them. So, if you're seeking to love like him and receive the salvation he provided us with that love, maybe you've even already received the salvation. But if you're looking for any help, let us support you as a congregation and a family. If there's any need you have, share it with us right now as we stand and as we sing.
Have thine own way.